Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about Seeking Alpha. This is one of my favorite stock analysis platforms because it lets you dive into the research around stocks, take on the bullish case and the bearish case for a stock, and make your own decisions about whether it's right to buy. You get access to a ton of data, particularly financial and valuation data, as well as a top stocks list, one of the best screeners I've used, and analysis articles from contributors. So with that, let's dive into Seeking Alpha and I'll help you decide if it's right for you. So when you open Seeking Alpha, the first thing you're going to see is this dashboard page. It's a pretty standard dashboard, gives you ideas for stocks to buy, looks at different metrics like seasonality, looks at stocks in different industries and stocks in your portfolio. But what I want to highlight here are these trending analysis box. One of the things that makes Seeking Alpha so different from other platforms is that it brings on outside contributors. These tend to be financial bloggers or Wall Street analysts who want to write about a stock. They have a thesis and they want you to know about it. That thesis might be bullish, it might be bearish, and that's what's great about Seeking Alpha is that you're going to get both. So one contributor might have an idea for how a stock is going to soar into the future, and another might be wanting to tell you about why they think there are threats to a company's business model. So you get both perspectives and you can decide which one you want to listen to or take them both into account. You might get some insights that you didn't think of previously, or just multiple perspectives that make a stock maybe appear more complicated than basic A through F ratings tell you. So as an example here, let's look at Pinterest. This is a really bullish contributor article on Pinterest, talking about AI and shopping tailwinds. It's a 5 to 10 minute read, so you can read through the thesis, look at the different points. Most articles do give a little bit of rebuttal to themselves, as most analysts are willing to say that their thesis isn't airtight. But what's interesting here is you can drive onto Pinterest stock page here and find additional analysis articles. So you can see from the ratings tags, a lot of these are bullish, but there are some that aren't. So it's worth, before you buy a stock, to dive into these more bearish or neutral articles, find out what those analysts are concerned about, and think deeply about those holdups before you dive into a stock. So as long as we're on Pinterest page, I can show you a little bit more about what makes Seeking Alpha so great and the data that it gives you. So I've shown you this analysis page. There's also news. Seeking Alpha mostly makes its own news headlines. There are occasionally headlines from platforms like Benzinga, MarketWatch, CNBC, but for the most part, you'll get basic headlines about stocks there. What I really like are these rating summaries and factor grades. So Seeking Alpha gives 3 different ratings to every stock. There's a rating based on Seeking Alpha analysts, there's a rating based on Wall Street analysts, and there's a rating based on a quantitative model that looks at financial and valuation data that Seeking Alpha has custom built. You also get factor grades, so valuation, growth, profitability, momentum, and revisions. And what I like about this is you don't just get the factor grades right now, you can actually see where they've been in the past to see if a company is improving or getting worse in certain areas. You can also look at the quant rating. So this is, again, that quantitative model, looking at how a stock compares to the entire universe of stocks that Seeking Alpha tracks, other companies in its sector, and other companies in its industry. So you can also dive into these ratings. We can look at how the quantitative model rating for a stock has changed over time with the price. You can see that at one point it was a strong buy when Pinterest was at a much lower price. You can look at similar timelines for Seeking Alpha's analyst ratings and Wall Street analyst ratings. What makes Seeking Alpha really stand out to me is some of the data in these other tabs, particularly the valuation, growth, and profitability metrics. So you can see that Seeking Alpha has a huge number of valuation metrics for every stock, and it compares those metrics against other companies in the sector. This is a really great way, if you have a sector that you're interested in, to find the top stock in that sector, whether you're a value investor, a growth investor, or a momentum investor. So again, looking at growth grades here, you can see there's a ton of different metrics available, and they're all compared against other stocks in the same sector. Same for profitability, and same for momentum. There's also a basic peer analysis here. You can see some of the most related stocks to, in this case, Pinterest, and look at performance over time. Just a kind of a useful way, again, to compare different stocks in the same sector. So now let's take a look at the top stocks list. This is actually just a pre-made screen within Seeking Alpha, and I'll talk about the screener more in a minute, but this is a really great way to get started with Seeking Alpha if you don't want to dive into all those detailed metrics. So this top stocks list typically has 40 to 50 stocks in it that are stocks that you can buy right now. These are rated very highly by the quantitative algorithm, Seeking Alpha analysts, and Wall Street analysts. They typically have high valuation, growth, profitability, momentum metrics. And any of these, given Seeking Alpha's track record, are probably pretty strong buys right now, even if you didn't do any research on them. But of course, Seeking Alpha is all about research, and so it makes it really easy to just click on these stocks, and now you can dive into these analyst articles from contributors, news articles, and all of those individual metrics that Seeking Alpha offers. So it's really easy to go from that top stocks list into in-depth research and make a decision about whether a stock is right for your portfolio or not. So like I said, the top rated stocks list is actually just a pre-made screen. Seeking Alpha offers more than a dozen pre-made screens for things like dividend stocks, growth stocks, value stocks, stocks in different industries. Really helpful. Of course, you can also create your own screens. And this is where Seeking Alpha shines. So first of all, you can set a screen based on those quantitative Seeking Alpha analyst and Wall Street analyst ratings. I like to just set these all to a buy. It's a really great way to make sure I'm looking only at stocks where there's consensus from these different rating systems that a stock is worth owning. After that, we can dive into the advanced filters, and then you get access to all of those different metrics that Seeking Alpha offers. So again, all these valuation metrics, growth metrics, performance, momentum, and more. This is a really great way to filter stocks for any specific investing strategy or find the top performing stocks in a sector. One thing you will notice is that Seeking Alpha doesn't have any technical analysis metrics. It's really focused on active and long-term investors. So the closest you're going to get to performance metrics is this performance column, and the shortest time frame there is 5 days. Most of the time frames we're looking at here are much longer. So I've mostly focused on stocks here, but Seeking Alpha also has a lot of capabilities for analyzing ETFs. Just like there's a top stocks list, there's a top rated ETFs list, and this is a great way to find ETFs for a variety of different sectors that are worth buying right now. Similarly, there's an ETF screener. You can build your own screens, looking at different types of funds, different types of asset classes that they hold, and advanced filters based on holdings, performance over time, momentum, risk, and more. So this is a really good platform for investors who want to invest either in stocks or ETFs or a combination of both. And of course, Seeking Alpha lets you create portfolios. And I actually think Seeking Alpha does a great job with portfolios. So you can dive in and see a summary of all your holdings, nothing special here. But what I like is this health score. So this is looking at the ratings based on, again, Seeking Alpha, Wall Street analysts, and quantitative model ratings for all of the stocks in your portfolios. You can see how you compared to other portfolios on Seeking Alpha, and also look at what analyst ratings are for your stocks. This is a dividend stock portfolio, and so Seeking Alpha gives me a dividend safety score, really helpful. And I can see, I've got a few risky stocks in here, and I might want to consider cutting them from the portfolio before they cut their dividend. We can also take a look at the latest analysis and news articles related to stocks in our portfolio. So how much does Seeking Alpha cost? So Seeking Alpha costs $239 per year. That's per year, so it's a great deal, and that includes everything I showed you here. Full access to Seeking Alpha's research, all access to the analysis articles, access to that top stocks list and the screener. You get a lot for $239 a year. I think it's a really great deal that's hard to pass up. Seeking Alpha does have a pro plan for $2,400 a year, and this offers a bit more access to Seeking Alpha analysts, as well as short ideas and more notifications about upgrades and downgrades in the market. For $2,400 a year, my experience has been that the pro plan isn't quite worth it. You get tons and tons of features from premium. I think the pro is more of an upsell that most investors aren't going to need. You can use Seeking Alpha for free, but you'll get very limited access to those factor ratings. You can only read a few analysis articles a month. It's pretty basic, so I think it's worth signing up for the premium plan for $239 a year. Seeking Alpha also has a 1-month paid trial. It's $495 for that first month. Highly recommend this because you can, at the very least, play around with the platform, check out the top stocks list. If nothing else, you get a bunch of stock ideas from that top stocks list, even if you don't decide to continue with Seeking Alpha. Overall, I think Seeking Alpha is a great choice for most active and long-term investors. You get access to a ton of data. I really love those analysis articles that let you take the bull and bear case for a stock and look at perspectives that you might not have thought about yourself. Overall, I think Seeking Alpha is a great choice for a wide range of active and long-term investors. I really love the research that this platform offers. I really love the stock screener. It offers a ton of research on ETFs as well. And my favorite thing are those analysis articles that give you the bull and bear case on a stock. So you can actually think about perspectives that you might not come up with on your own and decide and take a look at the consensus around a stock to decide if it's right to add to your portfolio. The one thing I'll point out about Seeking Alpha is that looking at all this research takes a lot of time. This is not a beginner platform. You do have to be comfortable looking into valuation, growth, and profitability metrics. You have to be comfortable reading those analysis articles. They can be 10 or 15 minute reads each, and you might want to read 5 to 10 of them before making a decision on a stock. So there's a lot of information to digest, but that can be really good for self-directed investors who want that information to make decisions.